Olympic champion.
So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
You make of that?
Anthony by murder.
By murder?
Yes.
Golly.
Might knock his head off a little bit. Like, it might be special effect, but it might, like, go out.
Like legit.
Boxing legends are giving their thoughts on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua matchup, and their views couldn't be more different. Usyk explains that this fight will not last beyond 1 round. Since he has shared the ring with Joshua twice, he says he knows exactly how much power Joshua brings. According to Usyk, this whole event is built for business, and it does not add anything meaningful to the sport. He believes Joshua needs just one clean opening to show the massive gap in strength. For Usyk, this is not a real contest. He sees the outcome as quick and completely one-sided, with Jake stepping into a situation far bigger than anything he has ever been part of.
Taking that fight. Obviously, it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Do you see something wrong with AJ taking that fight?
This is just a lot of money, just a show.
Right.
This is not interesting sport because, guys, brothers, Anthony is Olympic champion.
Right.
Jake, it's just sportsman. Yeah, YouTuber. Jake do a lot of work.
Right.
Special coach, special food, a lot of exercise new.
Yes.
But this is guy don't have a mother fights.
Right.
Never
Right.
a mother fights. Maybe them wrestling now professional, but Joshua, Anthony Joshua, it's Olympic champion.
So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round because Anthony twice, my fight twice, jab.
Very hard.
Yeah, look. You know, this is
That's still from his
this
fight.
is jab.
Tyson Fury takes a completely different angle and delivers one of the boldest predictions of the entire discussion. Fury states that Jake Paul will knock out Joshua, a claim that surprises almost everyone because it goes against what most experts are saying. Fury argues that Jake is physically getting stronger, lifting heavier, and turning himself into a more complete fighter. He believes Jake's development is impressive and says that sometimes momentum becomes more important than experience. Fury has always enjoyed making unexpected statements, but he insists this is his honest belief. He thinks Jake's confidence and steady improvement could create an outcome that nobody expects. In Fury's eyes, Jake is no longer just an internet personality, he is someone who has taken training seriously. His prediction is controversial, but it adds a unique angle coming from a heavyweight who understands the sport at the highest level.
Using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
Teddy Atlas breaks down the matchup with strategy instead of hype. He recognizes the incredible power that Joshua brings, but he also points out that Jake Paul is not entering the ring without tools. Atlas highlights that Jake's youth gives him benefits, faster recovery, more willingness to take risks, and more confidence in movement. He also notes serious improvements in Jake's footwork, which could help him create moments that trouble Joshua, especially if Joshua takes the movement lightly. Atlas explains that every fight has two sides. Joshua has size, years of technique, and championship experience, but Jake has certain strengths that cannot be ignored. Atlas then expands on Jake's mindset, saying that Jake fights with hunger because he is early in his career. He has not gone through the mental fatigue that older fighters face. Atlas adds that Joshua performs best when he controls distance, but Jake's quicker steps and his readiness to jump into exchanges may create small opportunities. These chances may be small, but they exist. Atlas is not predicting that Jake will win, he is simply saying Jake deserves to be taken seriously.
While we look at all the advantages that Joshua has, let's look at how I look at where maybe Paul has some advantages. He's younger, his feet are a little faster. I know he's not at that level of a fighter, I get it, but his feet are faster. Joshua's feet are not that fast, closing gaps, getting to somebody. To hit him, even if you're better than him, you still got to get to him to hit him. Also, Joshua, last time he fought was over a year. He hasn't fought. He was basically retired. Where's his mind at? He got knocked out terribly by Dubois. Where's his confidence? Where's his mindset? Where is he? Is he taking this fight the way that fans are, overlooking Paul, taking him for granted? Yeah, it probably is. Might be. Does that weigh in? Yeah, that weighs in. People don't look at those parts of it. And the weight. Paul's smart. He always puts clauses in there. I know this is the first time he's fighting a guy who's bigger than him and all that stuff, but he put in a 245-pound weight, clause where he can't come in over 245. What is Joshua weighing? He was off over a year. He was basically retired. Was he 280? Was he 290? Was he 275? Easily could be the case. He didn't have a lot of time now to get to 245. How does that affect him? Oh, we forgot about that. It's a little thing, but it's not that little. It's a thing that Paul put there for a reason. Again, Paul hasn't made too many mistakes. He's been pretty damn smart. I'm not saying he's the fighter that Joshua is, but I don't know if Joshua's the fighter that Joshua.
Lamont Roach speaks with both respect and concern when talking about Anthony Joshua fighting Jake Paul. He does not think this is a balanced fight at all. Joshua's natural power and high-level experience create a level of danger Jake has never seen. Roach says Joshua does not need to throw wild combinations to end the fight. Even one fully committed punch could change everything in an instant. The size difference and professional background make the matchup extremely risky for Jake. Roach stresses that the type of heavyweight power Joshua carries is not something an influencer-turned-boxer can safely handle, and stepping in front of that level of strength could put Jake in real trouble.
My first thoughts was, this guy's crazy. Not gonna lie. But I get it. Coming from a guy who's not a true traditional boxer, and to be able to have a position where he can fight a former unified world champion, former Olympic gold medalist, and to do it on such a stage where Anthony Joshua was a superstar as well. I mean, like, he sold out the O2, twice.
Absolutely.
I think. So, I think Jake is setting himself up for, a huge spectacle, and which is, kind of smart. If you're going to go big, why not go to the highest of the mountain? Why not? And I get it. That's what you call business right there. And I've seen a lot of guys calling them out, from like Gabe to, other guys who are
Berlanga.
boxers. Yeah, like guys who actually beat them. But why would he settle for those guys when he could fight Anthony Joshua? So I think that's smart. I think that's super smart.
Smart is one thing. What do you think happens in the ring, though, champ?
I think he gets hurt, for sure. I think he gets obliterated. Something close to like Francis Ngannou. I think something like that happens, and it's going to be bad for him. But
Andrew Tate keeps his reaction short and direct. He says Jake has walked into a massive moment and deserves respect for doing it. Tate appreciates the size of the risk Jake is taking and points out that most people would never step inside a ring with someone as powerful and experienced as Joshua. For Tate, the outcome matters less than the courage behind the decision. He believes Jake's willingness to challenge himself at this level deserves recognition. His message focuses on bravery, not prediction.
There you go. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Your thoughts on this fight? Omega One?
Yeah, huge respect to Jake. I mean, we all know what should happen on paper, but it's boxing. So huge respect to Jake.
Sean Ali, a professional mixed martial artist and UFC bantamweight competitor, also shares his view before the December 19th main event in South Florida. Ali expresses real concern for his friend Jake Paul. Speaking on the Bro Ali show, he openly admits that facing Anthony Joshua is frightening. He says getting knocked out by a fighter like Joshua can change a person's life, not just their career. Ali calls Jake's decision to fight such a powerful heavyweight absolutely insane, and he emphasizes the real danger involved. To him, this matchup is far beyond normal risk.
O'Malley is scared for Jake Paul. All right, great. You know what? Thank you, Sean. And now that's now my phrase. I'm going to steal that from you from this moment. I'm going to use it going forward because I didn't know how to describe my feeling about this fight, but I just got it. I'm glad I thought of it right after I read Sean O'Malley said it. Sean went on to say, there's certain punches, there's certain knockouts, there's certain concussions, there's certain ass whippings, there's certain beatings that are not equal to others. They're the kind of knockouts, of punches, of concussions, of ass whippings, and of beatings that change your life. They change lives. And O'Malley didn't elaborate on what that meant. But I know what he meant. I know what he meant. There is a confidence that a person has. From the guy that walks down the street, the most confident, he walks in the room and he's the man and he gets to live his life feeling that way and people will treat him that way. All the way down to the coward who walks his wife like he's weak, who handles everything sheepishly. But one thing those two guys have in common is that neither of them actually knows where they stand. Neither of them has actually tested that theory. They got all the rest of society to go along with it. Therefore, they don't have.
Sonnen gives a straightforward breakdown of why he believes Joshua holds a huge advantage. He lists Joshua's size, power, height, weight, reach, and long years of top-level experience as factors that overwhelmingly favor him. Sonnen says Jake has improved a lot, but there is no comparison between the opponents Jake has fought and the world-class competition Joshua has faced. He makes it clear that everything, from physical traits to mental preparation, leans heavily toward Joshua. Sonnen removes all emotion from his analysis and focuses only on the facts, showing how uneven the matchup truly is.
Performance. What if Jake makes it 5 rounds, 6 rounds? What if Jake made it to the distance? What if Jake won a round? Now, it's very hard to believe. It's very hard to imagine. I think it's the big struggle with this fight. I cannot, off the top of my head, produce a fight for you in any form of unarmed combat that drew, that was exciting, where the audience did not have a reasonable expectation, an expectation to some degree that, well, if he does this or that, there is a way for this guy to win. And that's usually pretty easy to do because nobody knows anything about fighting. Nobody watching this right now, none of you, my millions of viewers, not one of you has ever boxed. Not one of you knows someone in the family. Well, my dad was a boxer, my uncle was a boxer. No, you don't. Not only are you not a boxer, you don't even know of a boxer. Now, I only share that because when I come out and say nobody knows what they're talking about when they're talking about boxing, like, it's not meant to be an insult. You don't know anything about boxing. It was never taught to you. None of you in recess boxed. None of your junior highs, your high schools, your colleges, your community colleges offered boxing. Your hometown didn't have a boxing gym. Now really think about that. Because as much as you love the sport and as much as you think that you understand it, not only do you not understand it, you can't even have a conversation with other people who do because they don't understand it. So what is a win? I think that time counts. I think that time is a very big deal. You're in that little bitty ring, and I know a guy can run backwards, but running backwards is not illegal in boxing. It is.
Chris Algieri analyzes the fight based on how Joshua usually behaves in the ring. He explains that Joshua's approach changes depending on the type of opponent in front of him. When he faces a dangerous opponent, he stays disciplined. When he faces someone smaller or less experienced, he delivers the dominant performance fans expect. Algieri believes this pattern fits perfectly with the Jake Paul fight. He says Joshua will probably avoid unnecessary risks, but when he chooses to apply pressure, he usually finishes the job with power and precision. Algieri warns fans not to misunderstand the situation. Joshua has always handled mismatches in a predictable, effective way, and he expects the same again. This consistency, he says, makes Joshua reliable in the best way possible.
He's an elite heavyweight. Do you understand the analogy I'm getting to, Chris?
Yeah, and I agree. And, you know, but listen, Joshua's done this already. He fought a guy that he was supposed to destroy,
right?
And then he went out there and he destroyed him. And he didn't play with his food. Yep. He didn't say, okay, it was Ngannou I'm talking about, obviously. Of course. Who gave Tyson Fury fits and really had everyone questioning Tyson Fury's ability because he struggled with an MMA fighter in his pro boxing debut. Anthony Joshua didn't do that. He went out there and did what we all expected Tyson Fury to do and completely wiped the floor with the guy. And if Joshua doesn't do that this fight, I agree with you, Jimmy. It's going to hurt his stock. It's going to hurt the way that people perceive him moving forward. And also, I think, honestly, and if he doesn't go out there and just lay into Jake Paul and end it in the first, if not second round, to me, it's gonna look fishy to me. It's gonna look like this was a setup. This was an exhibition. This wasn't a real fight. If this is a real fight, it should be over in 90 seconds because Anthony Joshua is a legit gold medalist, super heavyweight, crazy athlete, awesome power, and Jake Paul just isn't on that level in any way. And he's not and he's undersized. You know, Jake Paul was fighting a cruiserweight in his last fight. He was under 200 pounds. You know, Joshua is a legit 250 pounds with abs, and the guy punches with the right hand like a cannon.
The one advantage Jake Paul has had in previous fights, and we all know people who have worked with him, and they go, he's got natural power. He can hit pretty well for his size. Not elite, right? Not world champion, but he can hit pretty well for his size. Paulie, that one advantage that he's had in previous fights.
Dave Allen looks at the fight from a realistic point of view. Instead of hype, he studies Jake Paul's previous opponents. Allen explains that Jake has mostly fought fighters who did not bring true heavyweight pressure or punching power. This allowed Jake to stay calm, manage distance, and control the action without being pushed into uncomfortable situations. Allen warns that Joshua will not give Jake that kind of space. If Joshua attacks with even half the intensity he uses against real heavyweight contenders, Jake will be dealing with something completely different from anything he has faced before.
But he could have beat Tommy. Could he win the area light heavyweight title? I'm not sure. Don't know who the champion is. If I had a look, I could tell you, I'm not sure. He then boxes Nate Diaz. So he's boxed one boxer so far, if we're keeping count, and he's beat none. Then he boxes Andre August, who I believe was a pro, and this is now at 14-3, so he's now actually a cruiserweight. Andre August, I'm not sure. Ryan Borland, 17-2. Again, I'm not sure. But fair play, he's beat two boxers here. Beat two boxers, what can I say? He then fights Mike Perry, who is an MMA fighter, bare knuckle boxer. He's not a glove boxer. He then fights Mike Tyson, which was...
Barry McGuigan gives one of the strongest reactions in the entire conversation. He believes this fight holds a level of danger that many fans, especially younger ones, do not fully understand. With decades of experience around elite punchers, McGuigan knows how much a fight changes when a true heavyweight lands cleanly. He says that just imagining Jake Paul standing in front of Joshua should make experienced boxing followers uncomfortable. McGuigan is not trying to insult Jake. His point is to remind everyone of the raw physical reality of boxing. He says this matchup highlights a risk far beyond entertainment and proves that boxing is still a brutally unforgiving sport when fighters of completely different power levels meet in the ring.
Some people are saying, you know, AJ's grabbing the bag. There's nothing wrong with that because anybody else, if they got offered that kind of money, they would do it. So, yep. And some people are suggesting he might damage his legacy. Well, where do you sit with the decision of him taking that fight? And it's a professional late round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him or he's not going to go flat out. But you know, I've been tossing this up and down in my mind and trying to figure how, and under God, when he had agreed to fight someone like Tank Davis, who is, you know, several divisions below him. That's more like...
That wraps up today's video. Stay connected for more updates. See you next time.